Coming up today on this week's episode, Grand Theft Auto 5 officially announced, developer of Battlefield 3 speaks on potential of next generation consoles, my video review of Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, and much, much more. This is Nick's Gaming. Hello everybody, welcome to Nick's Game View episode number 57. You're here with your host, Nathan Drake. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 has been officially announced. After years of speculation in regards to a Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar Games took the industry by storm by publishing an image revealing Grand Theft Auto 5 on their official website. To go along with the image, Rockstar Games embedded the statement Trailer 11/02/11, creating intense anticipation for next week. So, Grand Theft Auto 5 has been rumored for quite some time, and with Grand Theft Auto being one of the most successful video game franchises of all time, why wouldn't they come out with another Grand Theft Auto? The first trailer for the game comes out November 2nd, so I will definitely be sure to keep you guys updated on that. I'm very excited. There's a lot of rumors. Is it going to take place in Los Angeles? Is it even going to take place in the United States? There's a lot of rumors. We'll find out November 2nd. Now, the developer of Battlefield 3 speaks on the potential of next generation consoles. DICE, developer of the Battlefield franchise, spoke earlier this week on the potential of next-generation consoles. Claiming to already know what to expect from Sony and Microsoft for the next generation of gaming, DICE stated the following, quote, "The big step is to go from single processor to multi-processor, single graphics card to multi-graphics card, to multi-memory. Do you do multi-memory pools or one memory pool? Since we can handle both consoles now, we control that as well. We have all the streaming systems. We have whatever we might need for the future," end quote. DICE continued on by stating, quote, "I would be surprised if there were something we couldn't do with the next generation of consoles," end quote. Focusing on DICE currently, Battlefield 3 is off to a solid start with over 10 million copies shipped to retailers. But that did not stop early adopters from developing complaints. While the servers seem to be running smoothly now, previously the online multiplayer was known to be unplayable for many due to the overabundance of early adopters. Also, PS3 owners encountered a surprise when they noticed that the promised Battlefield 1943 game was not included on disc. EA recently responded to this complaint by stating, quote, "There seems to be some confusion around the Battlefield 1943 offer, and we'd like to clarify. We had originally planned to include Battlefield 1943 on the disc, but decided to replace the offer with new content that PlayStation fans can enjoy," end quote. DICE continued by saying, quote, "Thanks to an exclusive Sony partnership, PS3 players will have a 1-week early access to Battlefield 3 expansion packs, starting with the post-launch Back to Karkin digital expansion pack," end quote. So next console generation should definitely be interesting, especially after playing Uncharted 3 and seeing what's possible this generation. To know that there's going to be multiple processors and multiple graphics cards, it should be very interesting. And we all know that these developers already have access to these development kits so they can have their game ready for launch. And then the whole Battlefield 1943 thing not being on the PS3 disc like promised, I kind of disagree with EA's excuse for that. Yes, you do have exclusive content, but you still did promise that Battlefield 1943 would be on the PS3 disc, and you never came out and said that that's no longer true. But hey, I already got it, so I can't complain, but for the people that were expecting that, I can understand your frustration. Now I know you guys are all waiting for Uncharted 3. I want to give a huge shout out to my people over at Sony for hooking me up with a copy early, allowing me to review the game early for you guys. So let's head into my review. Known to push the PS3 to its absolute limits, Uncharted is one of, if not the most remarkable franchises to commence this console generation. Naughty Dog's 2009 release of Uncharted 2 Among Thieves exclusively on the PlayStation 3 defined the power of the console and remains as a benchmark not only for third-person shooters, but gaming as a whole. 2 years after the release of Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, Naughty Dog is back to deliver an experience that surpasses anything seen before, delivering the most remarkable story of the franchise, visuals that put Uncharted 2 to shame, and an enhanced multiplayer experience. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception is not only my game of the year for 2011, it's my game of this console generation. While I promise to keep this review 100% spoiler free, I will provide you with an introduction to Nathan Drake's latest adventures throughout various geographical locations. As Nathan Drake, you are on the hunt for the legendary Atlantis of the Sands to discover the lost 16th century treasure until you encounter a shadowy, clandestine organization led by Talbot, Catherine Marlowe's right-hand man. As you progress throughout the single player, you will travel around the globe from Europe to the Middle East. As you traverse the diverse terrains in Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, you will be exposed to gameplay elements fresh to the Uncharted franchise. Throughout Nathan Drake's enduring adventure, you will take part in various action sequences such as escaping midtown warfare on a dashing horse, maneuvering through a sinking ship infested with Catherine Marlowe's agents, and facing a brutal engagement with opposing forces on a plane flying thousands of feet in the air. While this is just a small taste of what you will experience in the story of Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, for the sake of preserving the epic adventure that you must endure as Nathan Drake, I'll let you play the game to discover how all of this pieces together and what end result is produced. Just know that the story in Uncharted 3 keeps you captivated throughout the entire experience and will leave you puzzled and curious until the very end. I will attest that Uncharted 3's single player experience is the paramount of the Uncharted franchise, and that alone is mind-blowing. While I am left perplexed as to what happened to a couple characters that bailed out during an emergency situation, Uncharted 3 will uncover many of the mysteries that have developed since we were introduced to Drake back in 2007 and is filled with jaw-dropping twists that will keep you intrigued. Throughout this epic adventure, you will be exposed to arguably the best third-person shooter gameplay ever seen. Implementing a more involved melee system, Uncharted 3 improves upon the basic punch-kick physics that took place earlier in the franchise. While encountering someone who's almost twice the size of Drake, you will be challenged with a longer, enduring fight than one who matches up pound for pound. You also have the opportunity to use your environment as an advantage throughout these scenes, whether it's bashing a beer bottle across their head or slamming their face into a corner of a table. These engagements are almost always interesting and expand upon the already solid gameplay of Uncharted. Other than the revitalized melee system, the gameplay mechanics are almost completely identical to Uncharted 2, and that's certainly a great fit. Why fix something that's already amazing and loved by millions? As we all know, the Uncharted franchise delivers arguably the best graphics of any franchise's console generation, and amazingly, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception conquers what was achieved with Among Thieves. As you venture through the Arabian desert, you will literally see individual sand particles lift from the soles of Drake's shoes. While struggling to maintain balance on a boat being flooded during a treacherous storm, every single raindrop to every puddle formed replicates a simulation that has never been exposed throughout my entire gaming career. Throughout the game, I found my jaw on the floor, believing that the hardware powering such graphical prowess was beyond the PlayStation 3. I'm left staggered by how visually incredible the game looked, and this really exposes the unused potential that game developers have failed to utilize. I hold not one doubt in my mind that Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception obliterates anything ever released on consoles to date. As an owner of a Sony 3D Bravia, I've had the opportunity to try out a wide selection of this generation's games in stereoscopic 3D. With 3D support implemented in Uncharted 3 from the ground up, I had to test out what Naughty Dog has been able to pull off. What I witnessed was simply breathtaking. While there was a very slight drop in texture detail while playing in 3D, Naughty Dog has proven to me that 3D gaming is the future. Likely due to hardware limitations, the slight drop of detail and textures is so slight that I was willing to play through a majority of the single player experience with my 3D glasses on. While struggling through the desert, seeing the sand fly out of your television, to being in action during a treacherous storm, 3D implementation in Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception is truly remarkable. It is the best 3D experience I've ever had on a video game console. Introduced with Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, online multiplayer has become an essential component in the Uncharted franchise. While Uncharted 2 did not offer the most robust online multiplayer experience known to man, the fact of the matter is that it was incredibly enjoyable and delivered an online third-person shooter experience that only Gears of War could compete with. With the release of Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, Naughty Dog takes what was entertaining from the 2009 release and improves upon it further. For the first time in the Uncharted franchise, Uncharted 3's online multiplayer expands upon boosters with the addition of kickbacks that you can unlock as you obtain experience online. Boosters provide you with the upper hand in a match, such as having a shorter spawn time or decreasing your medal kickback threshold. Kickbacks are obtained by gathering medals throughout a match, allowing you to do everything from throw a cluster bomb to firing endlessly without reloading for 30 seconds. These power-ups certainly add a twist to the experience, and if you're not a fan of these abilities, Naughty Dog allows you to enjoy Uncharted 3 online in hardcore mode, where it's straight bullet for bullet. Uncharted 3 also introduces the ability to customize your very own hero and villain using money that you obtain while playing online. With the ability to customize your torso, head, arms, legs, feet, and even your voice, the possibilities are endless, and it will be nice to see the diverse players online once the game has been available to the public for a couple weeks. When it comes to game modes for online multiplayer, Uncharted 3 does little different over its predecessor besides the addition of 3-team deathmatch and the highly requested free-for-all. 3-team deathmatch allows you to pair with one other person and take on 2 other teams of 2 in a classic match of deathmatch. While this isn't completely revolutionary, it's a welcome addition to the online experience. Absent from Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, free-for-all is a basic addition that will appeal to those who would rather depend on themselves rather than a team. The maps contained in the multiplayer experience are adapted from the single-player campaign featuring the same stunning design elements. As of launch, there are currently 11 maps available to play online, with Facility, High-Rise, and Museum being brought over from Uncharted 2. Each map contains various strategic areas, so in order to be successful in the online experience, I would highly recommend you study the maps. I give Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception a 9.5 out of 10. Overall, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception is a must-buy for any PS3 owner out there, delivering the best single-player experience of the franchise, visuals that demolish every other game this console generation, and a multiplayer experience that will keep you entertained for months to come. Uncharted 3 is easily my game of the year for 2011, and after much self-debating, my game of this console generation. While I would have liked to have known what happened with the 2 characters and seen more additions to the online portion of Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, I truly believe this will be the closest video game to perfect for years to come. Absolutely incredible. Not only game of the year, game of the console generation. I was blown away. Naughty Dog is on something. To be able to develop something like this, those guys are on something. So definitely, if you have a PS3, go pick up Uncharted 3. If you don't have a PS3, they got an Uncharted 3 bundle coming out. $2.99 gets you a 320GB PS3 and a copy of Uncharted 3, so definitely be sure to pick that up. Now, before we wrap up the show and head to my question of the week, since Uncharted 3 is not out to the public yet, what's your current game of the year? Don't say Uncharted 3 because you don't have it yet unless you've snuck it somehow, but what's your current game of the year? I'd be very curious to know. So that concludes Nick's Game Review episode number 57. If you want to contact me, you can email me at admin@thegameraccess.com. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/thegameraccess, and be sure to visit thegameraccess.com. Thank you guys for the support. Check back next week for another episode of Nick's Game Review. I'm out.
Access granted.